55 of Atma Bodha. Om Pratah Smarami Hridi Samspuradatma Tattvam Sachi Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yasvapna Jagara Sushuptamaveti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha Bahya Nitya Sukha Saktim Hitvatma Sukha Nirbhritaha Ghatastha Deepa Vasvastaha Swantareva prakashate upatistopi tadharmaihi alipto vyogmavan munihi sarvavin mudhavatishtet asakto vahyuvachare upadhi vilayad vishnau nirvishesham vishen munihi jale jalam viyadyomnihi tejas tejasiva yatha Yallabhana param labham Yat sukhana param sukham Yajnana param jnanam Tad brahmetyavadharayet Yadrishtva na param drishyam Yad bhutva na punadbhavaha Yajñatva na param jneyam Tad brahmetyavadharayet
We continue with verse 52.
Upadhistopi tadharmaihi alipto vyomhavan munihi sarvavid vyudhavatishtet asakto vahyuvachare upadhistopi tadharmaihi alipto vyomhavan munihi sarvavin mudhavatishtet asakto vahyuvachare.
Though associated with the equipments, the all-knowing sage, untainted by their traits like the sky, remains like a fool and moves about unattached like the wind. Again, though associated with the equipments, the all-knowing self, untainted by their traits like the sky, remains like a fool and moves about unattached like the wind. Now, a few comparisons are given, a few examples are given here. We'll see everything in detail. First one, though associated with the equipments, the all-knowing sage. So reverse it. The all-knowing sage continues to associate with the equipments. The all-knowing sage continues his association with the equipments. He's talking about a Jivan Mukta, a person who is liberated now. So who is a Jivan Mukta, a liberated person? Continues his association with a Jivan Mukta is the one who continues his association with the equipments, meaning he is bringing in the concept of prarabdha vasanas. As long as prarabdha vasanas are there, association with the body will continue. And the prarabdha vasana, the concept of prarabdha vasana itself is a beautiful derivation from the impartiality of law of karma. The law of karma is impartial, whether it is a sage or a saint or a sinner, a jnani or ajnani. The law of karma is impartial. Very important to derive certain corollaries from the law and then these corollaries. Once we understand this, we get a grip on what he's trying to say. First thing is, the law of karma is impartial, whether it is a saint or a sinner. Number one. Number two, knowledge, Vedantic knowledge doesn't change the prarabdha, but changes your attitude towards your prarabdha. So a jnani will not ask for a change of prarabdha. Ayyo, why am I na kashtapadrene? Relieve me of my suffering. He will not ask. A jnani understands that Vedantic knowledge does not change the prarabdha. Vedantic knowledge changes the attitude towards prarabdha. Prarabdha continues to remain. The prarabdha continues to remain, and depending on the prarabdha, the equipments will go through sukha dukkha. Depending on the prarabdha, the equipments will go through sukha or dukkha. One prarabdha could be he may be praised to the skies. Another prarabdha could be that he may be nailed on the cross and goes through excruciating pain and suffering. Whatsoever the prarabdha is, the jnani is disassociated. Meaning the equipments will go through that. That is the impartiality of the law of karma. The impartiality of the law of karma says, sage, sinner or a saint, prarabdha, you will go through. And then what does knowledge do then? Then what is the role of knowledge? What is the role of spiritual evolution? Knowledge, spiritual evolution brings about a change in attitude. What does that mean? Mind assimilated with this knowledge learns to enjoy the ananda, the strength from the knowledge itself, and not dependent on the equipments. That is why it's called the all-knowing sage. Sarvavit Munihi. Sarvavit Munihi is the all-knowing sage. Now, what does the all-knowing sage means? The jnani's strength The Jnanis, Ananda, derived from the Jnanam itself, not from the Upadis, not from the equipments. The Ajnani's strength and joy is derived from the equipments, the Upadis. Again, I repeat. The Ajnani's strength, the Ajnani's joy, the Ajnani's strength is derived from the Upadis, the instruments. A Jnani's strength is derived from what? From the very Jnanam itself. Atma Ramaha. Elsewhere in the Gita he says, satisfied in the self, by the self. It means what? Peace, security, happiness, contentment, all these are knowledge based. In this verse, we derive all this. He's not directly saying it, but all these are indicated. Again, I repeat. What do we understand from this verse? Peace, security, happiness, contentment, strength, all are knowledge based. They are not upadhis based, instruments based. In the case of an ordinary human being, in the case of a lay person, you always see it as instrument based. When favorable situation comes, ananda. When unfavorable situation comes, dukkha. Because it is dependent on the instrument, the upadhi. For a jnani, all this is knowledge based. And what is the knowledge? What is the knowledge? Aham Brahmasmi, that knowledge. Knowledge here means experience. Knowledge doesn't mean the theoretical information that we are talking about. Knowledge means Aham Brahmasmi. The person who has experienced this Aham Brahmasmi is the all-knowing sage. What happens to him? He remains, that I'll come to later. He remains like a fool and moves about unattached like the wind. First is this. Associated with the equipments, untainted by them. So, he continues the association with the equipments and remains untainted by them. In the case of an ignorant person, there is a association with the instrument, but the association with the instrument taints the personality. The association with the instrument trains the personality. What is tainting means? Whatever the characteristics of the instruments is, the person says, they are my characteristic. This is tainted. The characteristic of the instruments, the characteristics of the instruments are arrogated to the I. The eyes see, you say, I see. The mind feels emotions, you say, I feel emotions. The intellect goes through various types of knowledges, you say, I know. So, what is tainting means? The functions of the instruments is associated to you. The functions of the instruments are associated to one's own self. In the case of a jnani here, the association continues, but he remains untainted. Untainted like the sky. Untainted like the sky. Now, what is like the sky means? The sunlight makes the light of the moon and the stars insignificant. Again, I repeat. The sunlight makes there is light from the moon, there is light from the stars, there are so many sources of light. But the sunlight makes all the other sources of light insignificant. Similarly, the jnani, whose joy and bliss is from the self, makes all other joys look insignificant. Are you able to follow? It makes all other joys they appear insignificant. In fact, appear insignificant is not the right way to say. They become insignificant. The moon also has light. The star also has light. There are various luminaries that gives light. The moment sun comes out and gives light, all other lights turn redundant, useless, insignificant. Similarly, the jnani also continues to associate with the upadhis, the instruments, but the presence of the knowledge in him, what happens to him? The presence of the knowledge makes him realize, the presence of the knowledge makes him understand one thing. What? They are insignificant. Prarabdha Vasana. The first example is the Prarabdha Vasana. Now, I'll talk a little bit about Prarabdha Vasana. A human being, a jiva, the individual, not the sharira, the individual is made up of vasanas. And the vasanas is divided into three. Sanchita, Agami, Prarabdha. Vasanas is of three. Sanchita, Agami, and Prarabdha. Sanchita Vasanas is the total Vasanas. Sanchita Vasanas is the total Vasanas. Out of the total Sanchita Vasanas, the Vasanas that are intensified, that are stronger, that needs immediate expression, that needs immediate fructification, manifest. So the few that has manifested from the Sanchita, which needs immediate fructification, is called Prarabdha. That is called Prarabdha Vasana. And then only a few of Sanchita becomes Prarabdha. Rest are all waiting to manifest. That is called Agama, yet to come. Agami, not Agama, Agami. You have to say it as Agami. Agami means that which is yet to manifest or waiting to manifest. This is what the human being's life is made up of. Now, what does the spiritual practices, the knowledge of Vedanta does? The knowledge of Vedanta, the spiritual practices, eradicates all vasanas. When we say it eradicates all vasanas, what does that all vasanas imply? Eradication of the Sanchita vasanas. Eradication of not even the Sanchita vasanas. Eradication of all the Agami vasanas gets eradicated. But what about the vasanas, that which is manifested already? That will continue for a while. That will continue for a while. As long as the intensity remains, that will continue for a while, and that period is called Prarabdha vasanas, and the prarabdha vasana can be one of sukha or dukkha. The prarabdha vasana can be one of sukha or dukkha. Like Jesus Christ was put on, his prarabdha was to dukkha. Somebody's, a Janaka's prarabdha was one of sukha. But either way, both are. I'm just giving this example, sir. Either way, both are. Jnanis unaffected by the prarabdha. It means a jnani can also have prarabdha that can give dukkha. A jnani can have prarabdha that can give sukha. This is where I started by saying this prarabdha vasanas, sukha dukkha prarabdha vasanas, talks about the impartiality of the law of karma. For us, what is the message for us? Because we understand the impartiality of the law of karma, we become very careful. We become very alert. We become very careful. We are very aware of the prarabdha. We are very aware of this law of karma. Ajnani is one who is not aware of this law of karma. A jnani, a spiritual practitioner, is one who is aware of this law of karma. A jnani is not aware. We are all so happy and so comfortable because the ignorance is the bliss of ignorance is protecting us. I'm leading a very happy, contented, well-settled life, sir. Not knowing what the karmas has been created, we say we are leading a happy. It is because of the bliss of ignorance. Here this verse beautifully talks about the impartiality of the law of karma by bringing in the concept of prarabdha vasana. So what is prarabdha vasana? Prarabdha vasana simply is the life of the self-realized master, the life of a self-realized person after realization before physical death. This is prarabdha vasana. The life of a self-realized person after realization before physical death. That interim period of life is driven by prarabdha vasanas, and prarabdha vasana means associated with the equipments, and though associated with the equipments, he is untainted by them. That is where you find we get hungry and we eat. He also gets hungry and he eats. We get tired and we sleep. He also gets tired and he sleeps. What is the difference? The difference is when you are hungry, food comes, sukha. Food doesn't come, dukkha. You are hungry. Food comes, sukha. When food doesn't come, misery. Food comes, but the food that which is not of your preference. The food comes, but the food is not of your preference. Dukkha. So in the case of a ajnani, sukha dukkha is the experiences. In the case of a jnani, the bliss that he is experiencing doesn't get affected by the instruments going through sukha dukkha. That is what is meant by untainted. In the case of ajnani, the sukha dukkha of the instruments taints you, affects you. Affects you means, I don't mean anybody personal here. Don't get angry. What it means is, in the case of an ignorant person, the sukha dukkha of the instruments affects. Affects what? When we say affects, what does it affect? Affects the equanimity. Number two, because of the affectation, he goes on creating more and more vasanas. Two things. Immediate destruction, future destruction. Immediate destruction is loss of mental equanimity. Future destruction is creating more vasanas. This is what is called, this is what is known as associated with the tainted by the instruments. In the case of a jnani, he is also associated with the upadhis, but what does it mean? He is untainted. To put it very simply, as long as you are alive, you will be having a body, a environment consisting of objects and beings, and you cannot run away. You can run away, but wherever you go, you will create another set. So prarabdha also means he has the body, the environment, and people. But what is prarabdha means? The jnani goes through all this and he is untainted. We also go through this prarabdha lifestyle, but we get, please understand the difference. We can't say we are going through prarabdha. Prarabdha is only for an enlightened person. Don't say I'm also going through prarabdha. You have you are affected by sukha and and dukkha. In this culture, in the Indian culture, you'll always find that which you cannot escape from. We have this thing to call it as prarabdha. Yeah. Idiyam prarabdha, sir. I can't leave this, the fellow says. Yeah. This is my prarabdha. I can't leave. And what are all part of prarabdha? Father and mother is prarabdha. Where can you go away? Wherever you go, they are your father and mother. No. Yeah. Why in this culture we don't have divorces is because the partners are also prarabdha. That is why, having gotten into it, you have to go through it fully. No way of trying to running away in between. The children that you have is prarabdha. I'm just giving examples. What does it mean? Prarabdha means that which you have to experience and you cannot escaping the experience. You cannot escape the experience, but you can change the attitude with which you experience. Remember that. This is knowledge. Knowledge doesn't change the experience. Knowledge changes the attitude with which you deal with your experiences. Jnani does it 100% all the time. In our case, wherever it is possible, we can do that. Are you able to see the difference? Everybody wants to change the experiences. Vedanta says you cannot change the experience, you can change the attitude with which you experience. Meaning, sukha dukkha will come. That you cannot change. You cannot eliminate all the dukkha and have only. You cannot eliminate all the dukkha and have only sukha. You cannot do that. But you can change your attitude towards the sukha and dukkha. Are you able to follow? Sukha and dukkha I'm taking as one pair of opposite. You can equate it to all pairs of opposites. So, knowledge doesn't change the experience. Knowledge doesn't tell you to run away from the experience. Knowledge changes your attitude so that you deal with the experiences thoroughly, fully. What is dealing with the experiences thoroughly, fully means you will not create another cycle. You will not create another cycle. Improper association means we go on creating cycles. This is prarabdha vasana. The sage, unaffected by the prarabdha vasana, expressing through him. The sage is unaffected by the prarabdha vasanas, expresses through him. Just as the sky is untainted by that which it accommodates. The sky accommodates, but it is untainted by that which it accommodates. Similarly, a wise one, a all-knowing sage, goes through prarabdha vasana, but remains unaffected by prarabdha vasana. Why? Because that is the benefit of knowledge. Jnana palam. Even relatively speaking, what is the benefit of knowledge? Untainted, unshaken because of experiences. Unshaken in the present, untainted in relation to the future. Ajnani is one who is shaken in the present and creates cycles for future. Like space accommodates everything but not affected by anything. Sky here can be equated to space. Like space accommodates everything. Vyomavat. Vyoma is sky. Vat means like the sky. Vyomavat munihi. Like space accommodates everything but not affected by anything, a jnani goes through prarabdha but doesn't get affected by what he experiences. I'm interpreting the verse in both ways, from the absolute level as well as the relative level, practical level. Now, the relative practical level is what we can practice. Practical level means that which we can attempt to practice. One is to glorify the jnani. Another is to understand what is the message that we can derive from his life for our practice. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you find this description, no? How the jnani is unaffected. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you find every chapter there will be a few verses where Krishna talks about the untaintedness. Yam labdva naparam labam manyate nadikam tataha. A person having obtained, he thinks there is no other gain superior to it. Established, he is not moved by great sorrow. Verse 23, chapter 6, Bhagavad Gita. Having obtained that which has to be obtained, he understands what? He is not moved by greatest sorrow. Ajnani is a slight tremor is enough to cause mental disturbance. How does jnani conduct himself? Untainted, unaffected. Why? Because he is all-knowing. Why he is remaining unaffected? He is all-knowing. All-knowing, what does he know? He has the clear knowledge of what jiva means what Jagat is, what law of karma is, and how does it function. That is all knowing. All knowing doesn't mean he will know everything. He's not a mind reader. All knowing doesn't mean you go and stand in front of him. He will read your mind. He will read your palms. He can read your, he will know your past. He will know your future. Vijay, all knowing na appdi kedaiyadhupa. All knowing doesn't mean that. Acharya, you will know what I am going to have for breakfast. I will not know what, I don't know what I am going to have for breakfast. How will I know what? How will I know what you are going to have? What does all knowing means? All knowing means he knows what Jiva is. The Jiva Tattva he knows. The Jiva Tattva he knows. The law of karma he knows. What is this Jagat he knows. What is Ishvara he knows. And what is the relationship between? What is the relationship between Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all that he knows? This is what is known as all-knowing. The moment you know this, you know everything. The moment you know law of karma, you know all know. You become all-knower the moment you understand what law of karma is. The all-knowing Munihi is the all-knower. He exactly knows what the mind does and how the mind functions. He knows that. In that sense, he is all-knowing. In that sense, he is all-knowing. The all-knowing sage. Now comes a beautiful example. The all-knowing sage, like a fool. Now look at that. If you connect panna, you will understand the beauty of these verses. The all-knowing sage remains. The all-knowing sage remains like a fool. Ignorant person wants to show off and wants to make everybody believe that he is. The fellow doesn't know anything, behaves like a all-knower. Yeah. See, the way that I am doing Atmabodha classes, Shankaracharya may get very impressed. He said, oh my God, I never knew each and every verse of Atmabodha can be like a I never knew that Atmabodha can be taught like this also. The fool tries to show that he is the all-knowing. The all-knowing sage remains not a fool, like a fool. When he is moving around in the world, he moves around like anybody. Beautiful comparison. Like a fool. The all-knowing one, like a fool, is the beauty. He knows the law of karma. He knows Jagat. He knows Ishvara. He knows the laws that govern life. He knows everything. The all-knowing one remains like a fool. Fool na yaru? Not an ignorant person. Not an ignorant person. Fool means a mentally unsound person. Even though in English language we call it as a fool, what it actually means is a person who is mentally unsound. A mentally unsound person is one who is detached as it were from the worries of the past and anxieties for the future. A mentally unsound person, as it were. Don't say realized persons are all. Unmattavatta. Mudaha means unmatta. Unmatta means mad person. Fool means, fool here is equated to a madness. Correct, sir. அவங்களாம் பார்த்தாலே கொஞ்சம் they all appear quite they all look mad only. Okay. We appear like mad to them, they appear like mad to us. God only knows who's right. Huh? To the enlightened one, we all appear mad. To us, he appears mad. What is unmattavat? Madness. A mentally unsound person. A mentally unsound person is one who lives in the present so completely. Who lives in the present so completely that no past, no future. And that one aspect alone is compared. That one aspect alone is compared. Like the sky untainted, first example, like the fool. Like the fool. Who is a fool? A fool is one who avoids the higher. A fool is one who avoids the higher and is attracted to the lower. What would you call that person who is attracted to self-destruction? A person goes on destroying oneself, self-destruction. What would you call that person? And that person does it repeatedly again and again and again. Not only that person does it repeatedly again and again and again, he tells others also, he guides others also into the same thing. What would you call that person? Fool. Adan solran. Jnani does exactly the opposite. He guides them, he guides the entire humanity towards the higher, not towards self-destruction. A fool is one who destroys oneself. A mentally unsound person goes on trying to harm themselves, no? Mentally unsound person are those who tries to harm themselves. Philosophically, what is harming? Moving away from the higher. A fool is one who moves away from the higher. A fool is one who goes and destroys himself or herself. Not only they destroy himself or herself, they destroy others too. They are harmed to themselves and they are harmful to others. A mentally unsound person is harmed to himself and he is harmful to others. And you look at the world is full of You stand in front of the mirror, what do you see? Don't tell me, yeah? You stand in front of the mirror, what do you see? Whatever you see. And you come out and see the world, what do you see? What you see in front of the mirror is what you see in the world outside also. All mentally unsound people. Why? Because They destroy themselves and guide others for self-destruction. A jnani is not like that. Is exactly different. I'm giving the comparison from a few possibilities. A jnani comparison is only to one. What is the jnani's comparison to a fool? The jnani's comparison is only to one. What? Unaffected by no worries of the past, no anxieties for the future. Unmattavat is like the one who is so completely in the present. Meaning, when he is crying, he cries completely. When he is smiling also, he smiles. He smiles completely. In that sense, he is fully in the present. Completely detached from the affectations of the past and the future and wholly in the present. This is the comparison. Now, for our understanding, I am watering it down to give a different meaning of who is a fool. A fool is one who destroys. A fool is one who destroys, who hurts oneself and others. Ignorant fellow. Why? Out of ignorance. A fool is one who does not value the higher. A fool is one who does not value the Shastra. A fool is one who has no value towards the higher principles of life, the higher values of life. A fool is one who doesn't value discipline, happy being indisciplined. Exactly the opposite. That's all. I can go on giving examples. Exactly the opposite. A jnani is entirely different. The second comparison. The third comparison is to the wind. Asaktaha. The third comparison is the wind. Cross ventilation, we say no. Wind and earth, we say leave all the doors open, we say no. Why? When the breeze comes, it takes away all the stagnant air. You close all the doors, you close everything, it is stuffy, it is stagnant. Yeah. Air condition vacha kuda it is still, yeah, even with air condition, it is still stuffy only. You leave the doors open, the breeze removes the stagnant air, the stuffiness and purity comes in. What does it mean? The self-realized master is like the wind. His presence is, the presence of that person is like the wind brings about vitality. The self-realized person's presence brings vitality to ignorant people. That is the comparison. Vitality is because of what? Okay, when an ignorant person goes, there is no vitality to the others. Why? Because wherever the ignorant person goes, he gets attached. Saktaha. Stuffiness. Wherever the ignorant person goes, the ignorant person causes suffocation. When the wise person comes, he causes, like the breeze, he is liberating. Why? He doesn't cause suffocation. Not only he doesn't cause suffocation, he removes the internal dirt. To put it very simply, you go with your mind, he doesn't come with the mind. Wherever we go, before we go there, our mind comes in front. What is the mind? What is the guna of the mind? What is the nature of the mind? What is the guna of the mind? To get attached. Wherever it goes, whatever it does, it gets attached. Not only it gets attached, it will make sure that the other is also attached. I have to make sure the other also gets attached. Yeah, that is the mind. That is why they keep asking these questions, no? Are you missing me? And by mistake, if the other person gives the right answer and say, no, I'm not missing you, na, finished. Yeah. So you have to say, are you missing me? The answer is, yes, I'm missing you. Oh, this is called Sakta attachment disease. When the wise one, this causes stuffiness, suffocation. When the wise one goes, he is like that. He's like the breeze. He brings the freshness, but doesn't carry the guna of the mind. He doesn't carry that. What is it that he doesn't carry? The guna of the mind he doesn't carry. From this, what do we understand the guna of the mind? The guna of the mind is to get attached, missing. I don't miss anything, sir, but classes I miss. Abdinna, ignorance has come. Supposing if I say, oh my God, I'm missing seeing you all. I really don't miss, sir. Why will I miss seeing you all? Oh, I miss seeing you all. I miss talking to all. I miss teaching you all. Abdinna, you say, no, sir, we don't miss you at all. Whenever you say there is no class, now actually we are really happy only when you say there is no class. You are detached, I am the disease. Are you able to follow? What is the wind? The breeze. It passes by. The breeze is that which passes by. It doesn't yeah, it doesn't stay put like a iron plate, lead plate. It doesn't stay put. It moves. Similarly, the world is generated with fresh vigor and life in the presence of an enlightened, all-knowing sage. So the all-knowing sage, like the sky, like the fool, like the wind. Another comparison to the wind is wherever the atmospheric pressure is low, wind tries to, it reaches there. Wherever there is a thirst for unfoldment, the guru, the jnani is attracted to that environment. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Same idea. That is the wind. Another comparison is that reference. What is that reference? Wherever adharma has become more and there is a thirst in people, there is a thirst in a person to become Dharmic, that is a conducive environment that will attract the enlightened person, like the atmospheric where there is a low, when the atmospheric pressure is low, the wind moves in that direction. Similarly, the enlightened person also moves in that direction where there is that demand, where there is the demand. And where there is no demand, where the doors are all closed, he continues to move. The third comparison, like the wind. Like the wind means two aspects is compared here. What are the two aspects of comparison? The first one is the wind is refreshing. Second is wherever there is a demand, comes. See, imagine I log in at 7:45 and waiting for people to log in. Yeah, I'm just looking. Nobody seems to. Where there is a demand, there will be a supply. And how do you create the demand? The adharmic way of life, the person wants an alternative. A person is living an adharmic life. What does adharmic life means? An indisciplined life. A sensual, materialistic, indulgent life is adharmic life. And the sensual, materialistic, indulgent life is so frustrating, painful, and suffocating, the human being is looking for an alternative. What is the alternative? To lead a disciplined life. When that person is looking for an alternative to lead a disciplined life for some guidance, like the wind, the enlightened master, the sage comes. The third comparison. Are you able to follow? Technically speaking, Prarabdha Vasanas is a reference to the causal body. Fool is reference to the subtle body. Wind is a reference to the gross body. You should be able to relate now. Technically, the Prarabdha Vasana is relates to the causal body. Because all vasanas are gone, no causal body it is. Like the fool, the mind, the subtle body. Gross body, the wind. Why the gross body? Because wherever there is a demand for his presence, he moves in that direction. He moves in that direction. Reference to the gross body. A all-knowing sage has these three. What are the three? Unaffected by the causal body, unaffected by the subtle body, unaffected by the gross body, but doing respectively their respective functions. And who is he? The all-knowing sage. All-knowing sage means one who knows everything about life. What does knowing everything about life means? The law of karma, the jiva, the consciousness, the Ishvara, the enlivening principle. A person who knows these becomes all-knowing, and he is liberated now. So throughout the Atma Bodha, you find Shankaracharya referring to the Jivan Muktaha, and he continues the discussion of the Jivan Muktaha. Verse number 52 talks about the Jivan the Jivan Mukta, liberated person while alive. Verse number 53 that we are going to study now is talking about what happens when he is dropping the body. What happens to him while he lives, how he lives, when he dies, what happens to him upon death. That is verse number 53. Verse number 53 padhi.
उपाधिविलयाद् विष्णौ निर्विशेषं विशेन्मुनिः जले जलं वियद्योम्नि तेजस्तेजसि वा यथा उपाधिविलयाद् विष्णौ निर्विशेषं विशेन्मुनिः जले जलं वियद्योम्नि तेजस्तेजसि वा यथा.
On destruction of the equipments, the sage becomes one with Vishnu as water with water, light with light, and space with space. Again, three metaphors. Again, three metaphors. Another important verse. On destruction of the equipments, the sage becomes one with Vishnu, as water with water, light with light, space with space. Vishnu here refers to the supreme reality. Throughout the Atma Bodha, he uses these terms very liberally. Sometimes he uses the word Shiva, sometimes he uses the word Vishnu, sometimes he uses the word Brahman directly, Atman directly. All means the same, supreme reality. The reality is the true nature. The reality is the true nature. If you are ignorant, you will be called Jivatma. If you have realized your true nature, you will be called Paramatma. An ignorant one is called Jivatma. The wise one is called Paramatma. That Paramatma is given various names like Vishnu, Shiva, etc., etc., etc. What happens to him while he is alive? Previous verse. Instruments are there, but he is untainted, unaffected by the instruments. When he is dropping the instruments, because at some point of time Prarabdha gets finished, it is like the oil in the lamp. The oil, it is alive as long as the oil is there. But then as the light continues to burn, what is getting reduced? As the light continues to burn, what is getting reduced? The oil is getting reduced. Correct? At some point of time, what happens? The entire oil is exhausted, burnt. What happens then? What happens to his self-realization? What happens to his knowing the true nature? What happens to him? He merges as water with water, light with light, space with space. Again, three comparisons. Beautiful three comparisons. Jale jalam. Jale jalam. Example. You should remember, where have we read this? this comparison. Apuryamanam machala pratishtam. When the rivers enter the ocean, is water mixing with the river entering the ocean? Is water mixing with water? This is the reference from Mundakopanishad. Water with water is the reference from Mundakopanishad. Chapter 3. எல்லாத்துக்கும் ரெஃபரன்ஸ் கொடுக்குறேன் இல்லையா? இதெல்லாம் ஷோயிங் ஆஃப். ரெஃபரன்ஸ் எல்லாம் தான் ஷோயிங் ஆஃப்ன்றது. இதான் ஃபூல்ஸ் அப்படின்றது இல்லையா? திஸ் இஸ் வாட் அ ஃபூல் வில் டூ. ரெஃபரன்ஸ் முண்டக்கா. செக்ஷன் 3, chapter 2, mantra 8. Exact reference. Like the river entering the ocean, losing its name and form, the enlightened one after death becomes one with Brahman. Namarupe vihaya, Mundakopanishad says that. Tata vidwan paratparam paratparam Purusham upaiti divyam. Mundakopanishad mantra. The wise one, free from all identification, discards the names and form. The name and form is the prarabdha. The name and form is the prarabdha. By discarding the name and form, by discarding the name and form, the realization is not lost. The names and form is lost, but the reality remains the same. Like when the river enters the ocean, the individual name and form is lost, but the merger is only the loss of name and form. பெங்கால் இல்லையா? பே ஆஃப் பெங்கால் தான் இந்த சைடு இருக்கிறது. மெட்ராஸ்ல இருக்கிறது என்ன? பே ஆஃப் பெங்கால் இல்லையா? கேஞ்சஸும் அதுக்குள்ள போறது, கூவமும் அதுக்குள்ள போறது இல்லையா? பே ஆஃப் பெங்காலுக்குள்ள ரெண்டும் போறது இல்லையா? மெட்ராஸ்ல கூவம் கோஸ், enters. You go to Bengal, what enters there? Yeah, the Ganges. After entering into that, you will not know you will not know the difference. The names and form get destroyed. The first comparison. What is the first comparison? Water in two separate containers seems to have a separate existence. Looks like they are separate, but when they mix, they become one. Similarly, the realized person, though Brahman, seems to have individual nama rupa, like water in one container. Upon dropping the body, what happens? Upon dropping the body, the body is dropped, the enlightenment continues. The enlightenment doesn't drop. What is dropped? It is only the body that is dropped. That is why we never say the enlightened one is dead. We say they dropped the body. That's all. It is the body that gets dropped, and the body has to necessarily get dropped because the oil gets burnt out at some point of time. The first comparison. The second comparison is light with light. Light with light. What is light with light? Water is stula, gross. Light is subtle. There are two sources of light, and when they merge, there are two sources of light, and when they merge, light remains the same. What are the two sources of light? Mind and intellect. The reflected light is one source of light. The sunlight is another source of light. But both are when both merges, you understand that the light remains the same. The second comparison. The third comparison is space merging with space. The third comparison is space merging with space. What is space merging with space? Though space can never be conditioned, it appears to be conditioned. Though space can never be conditioned, it appears to be conditioned. Similarly, the Atman, the individual, appears to be there, though in reality, the individuality is not. The distinct individuality doesn't exist at all. The Atman in you merges with the Brahman. The pot space with space means pot and we have to give it in, then only it becomes clear. The pot space with the total space. Pot space with total space means what? The division appears to be so. In the case of water to water, there is a clear division. Are you able to see the differences? In the case of water to water, there are distinct differences. That's why I gave the example of Ganges also gets in, Kuvam also gets in. when you cross Kuvam, what will you do? Correct. Pranayama you will do. Yeah. When you cross Kuvam, Kuvam cross பண்ணும்போது what we will do? Mask we will put. Yeah, we will sit with the mask. Mask when you go through, when you pass Ganges, you would not do that. So water to water has distinct, different. Water to water sees as though they are two separate and then becoming one. Light to light also, there is a better illumination. There is a degrees of illuminations, even in light. In space, all the limitations of the previous things gets cleared in this example. What is it? The space with space. What is space with space means? The pot space and the total space. Are you able to follow the differences? Realized person is happy person. Why give all this and tires us all? Why are we? He is saying, we don't know why he is saying all this, and why are you also screaming on top of your voice, explaining all this? What is it? A beautiful description. What is the purpose of all this? A conviction that something permanent is there, which will be there, which you cannot loose, and motivating us, inspiring us to get there. Motivating us, inspiring us to get there. And the third comparison offsets the limitations of the first two. What is the third comparison? Space with space. What is space with space? Space appears to be divided. Space appears to be divided, but always it is indivisible. Always it is indivisible. In Vedanta treatise, it is said beautifully in the quote of Hanuman. Deha bhavena dasosmi. That is water with water. Jiva bhavena twadamshakaha. That is light with light. Atma bhavena tvamevaham. There are three bhavas you have. What are the three bhavas that you can have? Deha, Jiva, Atma. Bhavam da ellame. Deha bhava, Jiva bhava, Atma bhava. So from the Deha bhava angle, dasosmi, asmi dasaha. Two different. Jiva bhavena amshaha. Part. Light 1, light 2. Less illumining, more, all these differences are there. Atma bhavena aham tvameva. Atma bhavena aham tvameva. Atma bhavena aham tvameva means you and me are one. To bring this example, to convey this point, he says, Upadi vilayat, destruction of equipments, nirvisesham vishesht munihi, that sage becoming one with Vishnu. Abdinna, previously he was separate. Becoming one with Vishnu means, was he separate before? From Deha Bhava, he looks to like it was separate. From Jiva Bhava, looks like he was a part. From Atma Bhava, he was always the one. Like water to water, light to light, and space to space. The supreme reality is you. You are the supreme reality. From the Deha Bhava, you see the differences. From Jiva Bhava, you see again a very subtle differences. From Atma Bhava, there is no difference. So what happens to an enlightened person upon dropping the Prarabdha Vasanas? The Deha Bhava, the Jiva Bhava, the Atma Bhava, all becomes together, all becomes the same. Like Vishnu. Vishnu means all, Vishnu is the all-pervading. Vishnu means the all-pervading reality. And he continues the benefit of jnana, which is verse number 54. Other time over. I know the class, not today. Venkat, next week only. Not today. While he functions with Prarabdha Vasanas, how does he function? Upon dropping the Prarabdha Vasanas, what happens? While he is functioning with the Prarabdha Vasanas, he acts according to the Prarabdha, unaffected by the instruments. While dropping the Prarabdha Vasana, while dropping the body, while dropping of prarabdha vasanas, exhausting the prarabdha vasanas and dropping the body, what happens? இது ஒரே நிமிஷத்துல சொல்லியிருந்தேன்னாக்கா you would have finished Atma Bodha by today, no? Yeah. This is what he means. While living the Jivan Mukta, while living untainted by the instruments, upon dropping the instruments, realization, the state of realization remains undisturbed. This is verses 52 and 53. We continue with verse number 54 onwards in the next session. Is there anything that we have? No. With this, we conclude for today. Next session, we continue with verse number 54.